The world trusted them to protect it. But one signal, one face, changed everything. Superman's heat vision struck first. Hulk's fury sealed the fate. But the man they killed wasn't the enemy. And now, the real villain walks free, wearing a hero's face. The panic transmission. It started with a glitch. A low-frequency signal only Superman could hear, buried beneath the Earth's crust. His eyes flared red as a scrambled voice echoed in his head. Zor-El betraying Council. Phase 0 begins tonight. Superman froze mid-air over Metropolis. A direct message from the old Kryptonian distress channel, one no one else could access. Impossible to fake. Unless. No time. He opened a breach and flew straight to Hulk. Brain Hulk wasn't ready, but he trusted. Hulk was meditating. Yes, meditating. Banner had finally taught him to breathe through the rage. But when Superman landed like a meteor beside him, dust exploding around his massive green frame, Hulk stood up without a word. Superman's eyes glowed. Zor-El's compromised. He's meeting someone now. Deep Tower. Avengers Council chamber. Hulk squinted. You sure? I heard it in Kryptonian blood code. It was meant for me. Hulk grunted. Then nodded. We end it. Office building council meeting, 45th floor. Inside the Avengers Council hall, the air was tense. Captain Marvel, Black Panther, Zor-El, and Reed Richards sat around the circular holographic table. Zor-El was speaking calmly. The energy readings showed disturbances near Wakanda's core. We must discuss containment before. Then it happened. The glass ceiling exploded. A streak of red. A boom. A scream. Skull the kill. Superman burst through the sky window like a laser of fury. His eyes already glowing. His heat vision struck Zor-El dead center in the chest. Time slowed. Zor-El looked up confused. Not angry. Not even scared. Just confused. Then Hulk followed. With one leap, he smashed into the chamber like thunder in a bottle. His fist met what was left of Zor-El's chest, sending his limp body through a vibrating wall of vibranium, crumbling the room. Council members screamed. Alarms triggered. And then came the scream that shattered the room. That wasn't him. It was Captain Marvel. Drop of blood, the silence after. Everyone froze. Superman blinked. Hulk's fists unclenched, trembling. Blood splattered the walls. Captain Marvel's fists lit with rage. You idiots. That was Zor-El's stand-in for today. The real one's been missing since last night. Superman's jaw tightened. That was his DNA. I saw it. Heard it. Reed Richards' scanner pinged. No, that wasn't Zor-El. Genetic match is 87%. 87%. A clone? A shapeshifter? Suddenly, an emergency protocol activated. Stark's AI voice echoed. Council integrity compromised. World Council disbanding. Lockdown in 3, 2, 1. Satellite global fallout begins. Within minutes, the footage was everywhere. Live-streamed, slow mo, narrated by every known media outlet. Superman vaporizing the council chief. Hulk smashing the last remains. Captain Marvel screaming in disbelief. The body twitching on the floor, dying without resistance. People didn't care about clone theories. They only saw Earth's two strongest heroes murder a leader. Public trust shattered. Bomb the real traitor watches. Somewhere beneath the ocean floor, in a dark room of glass, a man watched the council carnage on loop. He wore Zor-El's face perfectly, but his eyes glowed violet, not blue. He grinned. And now Earth eats its own. He leaned forward. Behind him, hundreds of red capsules blinked. Cryotubes. Each one housing a hero's copy. Phase 1 complete. Let confusion burn the Alliance down. Lock Superman in chains? Back at the Council ruins, Iron Man landed with a heavy heart. Thor hovered with storm cloud eyes. Black Widow aimed her weapon at Superman, even if it was useless. Banner had regained control. He stood quietly beside Superman, ashamed. You acted without Council vote, Thor growled. I acted to prevent war, Superman replied. I was manipulated. And now Zor-El is dead, said Black Panther. What if that's exactly what someone wanted? Puzzle piece, the final clue. As the medbot scanned Zor-El's fake body, a metal disc blinked beneath the skin. Dr. Strange floated it into his hand. Encrypted, ancient, not Earth-made. It pulsed with a symbol, Kryptonian, but reversed, corrupted. A message unlocked. Who watches the watchtower? XR. Superman staggered. Zellare. The name hadn't passed his lips in years. Zor-El's twin. Long lost. Long dead. Or so they thought. Hulk clenched his fists. We killed the wrong one. The council cracks. They called it a mistake. The cameras pinged and the feeds pulsed, but names had already been carved into public memory. Murder. Betrayal. Heroes turned assassins. No one noticed the small things at first. The way Captain Marvel's eyes jittered when she swore it wasn't Zor-El. The way Reed Richards' fingers trembled while running scans. The hairline fracture in Stark's stoic voice when he issued lockdown protocols. The world wanted a simple story. Heroes, villains, and justice. And the only thing simpler than truth was rage. The first blow came from within. Thor issued a withdrawal from the Alliance. He posted a Stormborn manifesto across every Asgardian relay. Trust the process, but not those who kill inside the hall of discussion. The old unity cracked like thin ice underweight. Nations took sides like gladiator fans. Streets filled with placards, then torches. The Avengers Council was meant to be the fulcrum that balanced power. Now, it dangled, precarious. Hulk disappeared. Not into a cave, not into isolation, but into exile of a kind Banner had never wanted. He packed nothing but memories and shame. The green behemoth left the cities and the questions behind, boarding a battered cargo freighter that sailed to nowhere on purpose. He wanted no parades, no apologies typed by PR teams. He wanted silence. But silence is a mirror. Look long enough and your face stares back. Banner sat on the rusted deck under a wind that smelled of diesel and regret and tried to forgive the fist he hadn't kept closed. Meanwhile, Superman stayed. He floated above the council ruins long after the drones recorded every angle, long after satellites cached their files into aggressive servers. He listened to the echo of the panic signal that had broken his certainty. He replayed the Kryptonian blood code in his head, tried to remember any modulation that could have been faked. He remembered a childhood lullaby, a starfolk warning. Never take a signal at face value. But he had been sure, and that certainty ate him. Inside the labs, Reed Richards' lab coat fluttered like a wounded flag. He ran forensic tests until the scanners bled data. 87% match. Synthetic grafts. Cryoscar tissue. An implant that hummed at subsonic. A reversed Kryptonian sigil. None of it fit a simple scenario. Reed's mind split into dozen thought threads and threaded them back together, each stitch a theory. Cloning, mimicry, deep tissue forgery, technology beyond their catalog. He kept circling back to one name he should have forgotten. Zellare, Zor-El's twin, the myth that had been buried under space debris and family grief. If Zellare lived, then everything was a lie, and if everything was a lie, then who could anyone trust? On the public stage, chaos metastasized. Governments handed down emergency decrees. A dozen small militias, calling themselves Watchers, sprang up overnight with one mission: arrest or destroy Superman and Hulk for the crime they'd seen on loop. Social media gave birth to hashtags like hashtag Justice for Zor-El and hashtag No More Gods. The press played cuts from the council chamber in endless rotation. Pundits argued the history of hero oversight as if it were a sports match. The people who had once chanted names now shouted orders. An old fear rose in the populace. If the Guardians could be killers, then order itself was fragile. Stark reacted like a surgeon who'd made a wrong incision. He built barricades, not of metal, but of policy. He issued arrest warrants and player bounties that smelled like last resort law. The World Court would convene. Trials in absentia would commence. Tony Stark, with all his genius and culpability, pushed the legal machine forward because he didn't yet know what else to do. He called for an independent review, but every word he broadcast felt like a verdict in itself. The fracture widened. Then came the whisper campaigns. Anonymous channels pumped disinformation into the public bloodstream. Videos of Superman allegedly misusing heat vision, clips of Hulk supposedly smashing defenseless towns, doctored evidence that painted two heroes as monsters. It was too tidy, a smear that fit the narrative. Kill the chief, destroy the trust, watch the world burn into factional flames while the real enemy slips away. Within this tinderbox, a quiet operation bloomed. Captain Marvel led a covert inquiry. She didn't trust a courtroom. She didn't want leaks that would light the entire planet on a single accusation. She assembled a low-profile team. Black Panther for stealth, Reed for forensics, Natasha for fieldwork, and a tentative reconciliation with Stark for access to his lock systems. They moved like shadows inside a room full of searchlights, more careful with data than with bullets. They found the first shard in Zor-El's office, a single microscope slide, tucked inside a personal journal like a pressed memory. Under the slide, microfilaments coated in a polymer not cataloged in any Earth lab. The polymer responded to electromagnetic signatures in ways that matched explanations only found in off-world tech. It absorbed truth and reflected noise. It was built to confuse instruments and fool senses. Captain Marvel's jaw clenched. Whoever had made the stand-in had not only replicated flesh, they had engineered a lie that would survive any casual scan. That night, under a sky smeared with smog from 1,000 protest fires, Natasha took a risk. She infiltrated a private data vault rumored to belong to a shell corporation tied to defense contracts. Under flickering neon and the hum of servers, she found purchase orders for cryocapsules. Dozens of units labeled Project Mirror, with delivery signatures that traced back to a shadow account. The account name? A set of glyphs that translated, with effort, into the reversed Kryptonian sigil. XR. It was small, but it screamed intent. Someone wanted people to believe in the blood code, Reed murmured in the grim silence of their war room. We were supposed to be the ones who always listen, and we were fed the song. Black Panther extracted IPs, traced routes through shell companies, and tracked shipments. The trail led farther than anyone expected, not to a lone rogue state or a gang of black market tech dealers, but to a subterranean auction house where relics and forbidden tech were sold to the highest bidder. The bidders were a who's who of hidden actors, corporate warlords, disgraced generals, and one name that made them all pause: the Watchtower Collective, a cabal rumored to have once attended council meetings incognito. They pulled another thread, a shipment manifest that listed cryotubes and a prototype camo skin labeled Phase 1, Deception. The manifest also contained a single line of courier notes that read, "Delivered to Archive 9, under seal, sign, ZLRA." The air in the room grew thin. For every lead that Captain Marvel's team uncovered, the public moved in a different direction. A vigilante group in Lagos fired missiles at a Stark facility. A mob in Tokyo stormed a satellite uplink farm. The world's infrastructure hiccuped in small, dangerous ways. If the alliance crumbled, governments argued. Who would protect global order from the void left behind? In the midst of this, a video emerged. Shaky, grainy, uploaded anonymously. It showed one of the cryo tubes opening. Inside lay a figure, eyes closed. As the haze cleared, the camera zoomed and the figure's features seemed familiar. Zor-El? No. The face twisted, shimmered, then settled into a stranger's expression. The camera cut. The uploader captioned it, Phase 1, deployed. Wait for Phase 2. The message was simple and poisonous. Confusion is a weapon. They were not ready for Phase 2. At the end of the room, in a chair that looked too small for his broad shoulders, Superman finally spoke. He had been quiet through the meetings, through the accusations, through the legal threats. He had watched the world fracture in images. He closed his eyes and exhaled. "We killed the wrong man," he said softly. It was not new information. They'd all known it since the sigil. But when he said it, it sounded like a verdict. It landed in the room the way thunder lands, inevitable and loud. Hulk's name was whispered like a prayer and a curse. Outside, the mobs chanted, missiles flew, and the watchers sharpened their knives. The alliance had not just cracked. A fault line had opened that would swallow reputations, friendships, and perhaps the very notion of what it meant to be a guardian. At the edge of a city, in a secure facility that hummed like a sleeping beast, the man wearing Zor-El's face watched the feeds and smiled. He tapped the screen where the manifest read, Phase 1 complete. His thumbnail pressed down, and the screen blinked to a new file. He played it. The image that filled the screen was not a face, but a map, red pins appearing across the globe like boiling pustules. Phase 2, he said, and his voice was calm as a metronome. Let the council crack. Let the world pick sides. When the smoke clears, the throne will be vacant and the players easier to move. Outside, someone set another building on fire. Inside, an alphabet of consequences began to write itself in blood and policy, and the heroes who once moved as one were now cast into roles they never auditioned for. Rain fell sideways over New York as the world tilted into paranoia. Superman was grounded. Hulk had vanished. And the public believed exactly what the enemy wanted them to, that Earth's two strongest protectors had become its greatest threat. But the real villain wasn't hiding. He was watching. From the underground citadel called Archive 9, a man wearing Zor-El's exact face, same Kryptonian eyes, same voice print, stood in front of a wall of holographic maps. But his smile wasn't Zor-El's. His name was Zell-R-A, and for 20 years he had waited in silence. Begin distribution, he said. Behind him, dozens of pods hissed open. Inside, clones, half-complete copies of Earth's top-tier heroes, blinked into existence. Their minds were blank slates. Their purpose, chaos. He activated them with a single command. Impersonate. Infiltrate. Incite. Satellite, the framing begins. That night, global security systems were hijacked. Starknet, SHIELD satellites, even Wakanda's vibranium encryptions, all overridden for 62 seconds. Just long enough. In Paris, a figure in Superman's uniform vaporized a humanitarian convoy. In Argentina, someone with Hulk's skin flattened an entire rainforest village. Except it wasn't them. The footage was perfect. Every facial scan, every movement, it all matched. Because the clones were programmed to frame them. The world didn't hesitate. Warrants turned into global kill orders. Every faction that once stood united was now pointing weapons at each other. Brain, the survivors, dig deeper. Captain Marvel hadn't slept in 2 days. She replayed the Paris footage 137 times. It looked like Clark, but something was off. His posture. The hesitation before the blast. The heat vision was too precise. She connected with Black Panther in the underground tunnels of Nairobi. They compared timelines, transmission logs, and Stark's internal logs. These aren't crimes, Chala said, narrowing his eyes. They're performances. Back at the Arctic Vault, Reed Richards cracked open the clone body from the council chamber. Under its skin, embedded memory chips. And beneath those, Wraith Tech, a forbidden tech that only one rogue Kryptonian ever touched. Zell-R-A, Reed whispered. He's back. Milky Way Superman goes dark. Elsewhere, Superman had gone completely off-grid. No satellites could track him. But he wasn't hiding. He was listening. In a crystalline cavern under the Pacific, he sat with Jor-El's last surviving AI remnant. A flickering projection of his father told him what he feared. Zell-R-A escaped the Phantom Zone. He rebuilt himself using mimic cells from your genetic code. That signal, the one that led me to kill Zor-El. It was laced with false markers, meant for you, to exploit your justice instinct. Superman's fists clenched. He wanted me to become the threat. You didn't become it, but now the world thinks you did. Green Circle, the return of Hulk. Banner reemerged in Nepal, thinner, quieter, haunted. He had spent weeks in deep trance, calming the monster inside. But when a clone of him tore through a UN aid camp and a terrified child called him a murderer, he knew exile was over. He traveled on foot to Captain Marvel's covert base in Greenland. No tech, no drones, just resolve. Carol didn't say anything. She just opened the door. Hulk walked inside and sat beside Black Panther and Reed. They were no longer debating. They were preparing. Magnifying glass tilted left, the breakthrough. Back at Wakanda, Shuri and Reed isolated a trace signal embedded in the clone's neural cortex, a location ping. It pointed to deep below the Atlantic Ocean, just outside the reach of Atlantean sensors. An ancient facility, Archive 9, hidden, unmapped, Kryptonian in origin. They decrypted one of the signals coming from the pods and played the final embedded phrase. A warped voice. Phase 2 begins. Let them destroy themselves. Then we rule what's left. Laptop computer, the hacker joins the fight. Miles Morales, yes, Spider-Man, but this time the hacker version, had been monitoring weird web behavior for days. Videos uploaded before crimes even happened. Hashtags trending seconds after events. He reached out to the Avengers covert channel. Guys, it's all scripted. The evidence? It's automated, preloaded, like someone wrote the future and hit publish. Carol blinked. You mean it's fake? No. I mean it's predictive warfare. Someone is orchestrating society itself. SHIELD, the decision. The council, what was left of it, met in a shadow chamber. Only 7 members remained. Thor refused to join. Iron Man sent a hologram. Captain Marvel led. We're not clearing names anymore, she said. We're going after whoever built the lie. Superman appeared in the chamber mid-meeting. No doors, just silence and presence. I found him, he said. Zelare lives. He's beneath the Atlantic. He wants us to turn on each other. Black Panther stood. Then we go as one. For the first time in weeks, no one objected. Scissors part ending. The jet soared into the black skies over the Atlantic. Inside, Hulk cracked his knuckles. Captain Marvel locked her photon bands. Spider-Man uploaded the real-time decryption. And Superman stood silent at the front, eyes glowing, not with rage, but with clarity. Below them, far beneath the ocean, Zelare watched from Archive 9. He smiled. Let them come. Phase 3 was always the trap. The jet cut through clouds like a blade. Inside, silence. Not from fear, but from focus. Superman stood at the front, eyes glowing. His mind played the memory of Zor-El's last breath on repeat. Hulk sat cross-legged, breathing slower than ever, calm before rage. Captain Marvel triple-checked her photon cuffs. Black Panther cleaned his blades in silence. They weren't going for revenge. They were going for proof, for redemption, and maybe for war. Waterwave breach point, Atlantic floor. The moment they arrived over the coordinates, the sea below exploded. Torpedo-shaped drones rose from the depths like awakened krakens. Hulk jumped from the jet first, slamming into the water with a shockwave that split the ocean. Captain Marvel dove in after, charged like lightning. Below them, Archive 9 emerged like a living fortress, half Kryptonian metal, half bio-coded alien tech. It wasn't built. It had grown. Superman rocketed downward, piercing a layer of invisible shielding. Pain shot through his nerves. Archive 9 was laced with red sun radiation, calibrated perfectly to weaken him. He gritted his teeth. Clever Zelare. Zombie, the Clone War begins. As they entered the main chamber, the horror unfolded. Hundreds of clone pods, all active. Each held a half-perfect version of Earth's defenders. Some already awake. A twisted version of Spider-Man leapt toward Captain Marvel. Too fast, too feral. She dodged, blasted, and incinerated him mid-air. Black Panther faced a copy of himself, identical in movement, ruthless in execution. They clashed in brutal silence. Only instincts separated them. Reed's voice crackled through the comms. These clones adapt. The longer you fight, the more they learn. Hit hard. Don't repeat moves. Hulk growled. I don't repeat. I smash. He wasn't wrong. He tore through 7 in seconds, until one clone, glowing with gamma light, screamed, I'm the better Hulk now. The battle was no longer about power. It was about identity. Light bulb, the trap unfolds. Deeper inside, Superman found the main control hub, walls lined with glowing crystals, pulsing red. There stood Zelare, wearing Zor-El's face, speaking in Superman's voice. You were always the golden one, Kal-El. But even gold rusts under pressure. Superman clenched his fists. You made me kill. You made everyone believe the lie. I didn't make them, Zellare smiled. I just gave them a truth easier to swallow. With a snap of his fingers, the chamber transformed. Dozens of holoscreens showed global protests, wars, AI-controlled media pushing the same message. Superman and Hulk are tyrants. The alliance is corrupt. Trust no one. By the time you win this battle, Zellare whispered, the world won't care. Fire counter protocol activated. Suddenly, Reed's override signal hit the chamber. From Wakanda skies, a satellite deployed a solar disruptor, blasting Archive 9 with pure white energy. The red sun emitters failed. Superman stood taller, stronger, eyes brighter. Zellare backed away. No. Superman didn't punch. He spoke. You wanted the world to see a killer. Let them see justice instead. Then he launched toward Zellare, crashing through him and 3 walls of alloy. Drop of blood, the unthinkable betrayal. Just as Zellare hit the floor, a new figure appeared behind Superman. A blur, a whisper, then a blade. Right through Superman's back. He fell to one knee, and standing behind him was Iron Man. But it wasn't Stark. It was Clone Tony, activated as a sleeper weeks ago, built to betray at the perfect moment. Phase 3 complete, the clone said, as Superman collapsed. Captain Marvel screamed through the comms. Hulk roared. The fortress trembled. Direct hit mission ends. But at what cost? Black Panther found the core and jammed the memory drives into Reed's sync device. The truth was saved. Proof of Zellare's plans. The cloning. The manipulation. But Superman lay unconscious. Hulk bled. Archive 9 was collapsing. They had won. But the price was only just beginning. Smoke rose from the ruins of Archive 9. The sea boiled above the shattered fortress as the final wave of clones disintegrated into silence. But Superman didn't rise. He lay still in the cratered floor, red cape torn, chest scorched from the clone Tony's betrayal. His eyes dimmed, but his hand clutched the memory core, the proof that could clear everything. Captain Marvel knelt beside him. Her hand shook, not from fear, but fury. We end this now. Hulk stood nearby, breathing heavily, body covered in cuts that healed slower than usual. He nodded. No more running. No more hiding. They see truth now or we bring it. Satellite antenna, the broadcast that shook Earth. Black Panther activated the Emergency Council override beacon. Within minutes, screens across every nation blinked to life. Schools, subways, homes, towers, every single connected surface, forced to show one thing, the truth. A montage played. Clone pods with Avengers faces. Zellare's voice confessing the master plan. The Paris, Argentina, and Lagos attacks in raw, undoctored feeds, revealing clone imposters. And finally, a chilling line from Zellare. Let them destroy their heroes. The world will rebuild, with me in charge. People watching dropped their phones. Protesters froze mid-chant. Soldiers lowered their weapons. Hashtags began flipping. Hashtag Forgive the Protectors. Hashtag Zellare Allied. Hashtag Avengers Unbroken. Classical building, global response. Shock and silence. Inside the UN emergency chamber, silence fell like a verdict. Ambassadors looked at one another. Stark's actual hologram flickered in. His face pale. That wasn't me. I didn't know I'd been copied. No one argued. The footage was clear. Then Nick Fury, quiet since the first day of the council chaos, stood and said, "We owe them more than an apology. We owe them our trust again." The motion to reinstate the alliance passed. Unanimously. Milky Way Zellare's final card. But peace never comes easy. Just as calm began to settle, a piercing ripple tore through the sky over Wakanda. A portal. Zellare, bleeding, burned, and desperate, emerged, dragging a final weapon. A hybrid doomsday device coded from Kryptonian and Earth tech. If I fall, your planet falls with me. He activated the core. Superman stirred. Still weak. Still bleeding. But alive. He floated up, slowly. Behind him, Hulk and Captain Marvel formed a triangle of force. You lied to the world, Superman said. But now they've seen you. They'll forget, Zellari hissed. Fear always returns. Truth fades. Not this time. Superman lunged. So did Hulk. So did Carol. They struck together. Pure will, no hesitation. The blast lit up the sky like dawn. Collision, the final sacrifice. The explosion cracked the clouds. When it cleared, Zellari was gone. His device destroyed. The sky silent. But Superman was falling. Fast. Captain Marvel caught him midair, tears mixing with rain. Stay with me, Clark. Don't you dare leave. But he smiled. I knew. I had to fix it. I made the first mistake. His eyes closed. Then light flared. A golden pulse from his chest. Kryptonian regeneration cells, triggered by the surge of Earth's yellow sun. He gasped alive. Not just alive. Stronger. SHIELD, the Alliance reforged. Weeks later, the Avengers Council reconvened. Bigger. Bolder. With new safeguards. New truths. Superman and Hulk entered the chamber, not as accused, but as honored. The crowd rose. Thunderous applause. Tears. Redemption. Carol walked in last, placing Zor-El's recovered medallion on the podium. For every mistake that nearly destroyed us, we built something better from it. The crowd roared. Cyclone, but far away. In the outer rim of a forgotten galaxy, a small drone zipped toward a floating structure. Inside, a voice. Zellari failed. Earth is still united. But that won't last. A new figure stepped from the shadows. A metal mask. Glowing green eyes. Prepare Phase 4. This time, we don't copy their faces. We take their souls. Story end.